Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Welcome to the Grow Show. Kyle Evans, Fold Coach, Maps Coach, Constellation Collective, coming to you live here right before we actually go into the bold room. And yet, I wanted to spend some time with you this morning, making sure you get that daily checkup from the neck up, guys. We got a lot to talk about and a little bit of time to talk about it. Let's start with our foundation as always. Our bold law this week is time is more valuable than money. Time is more valuable than money. Is our focus on the correct and the most expensive asset in our lives? Think about that, man. Show me what's on your calendar and I'll show you what's most important to you. Are you using your time the way that you should? I know that this is a firm fact of life and I wish that it wasn't, and yet it's true. There's no reset button. We can go make more money, can't make more time. So are we using it as valuable as it is? Next up is our DTD2 system, doing the database too. Guys, we are going to call people by the last name, two different letters each week. That way we can touch everybody in our database with no call bias once a quarter or four times a year. That is proven to be the most effective way systematically to stay in relationship with our people. So we're not a secret agent. Guys, I want you to understand this. Silent agents have skinny kids. We don't want that. We want big old plump kids rolling around. I want your kids to be so rich and happy they look like the blueberry girl and Willy Wonka getting rolled down the aisle there, rolled down this big aisle. So we are going to call H and V this week. We are going to talk to them. We are going to stay in touch with them, and we're going to build a relationship with them. Next up, guys, we are going to continue our dive into Quantum Leap. What we've been talking about these last few times. Remember, it's not a deep dive, it's not a shallow dive, it's that nice, healthy medium dive. And I want to make sure that you guys have taken Quantum Leap on your growth plan, man. Go sign up for an awesome instructor near you, get poured into. This stuff is absolute heat here. So, look, you see this. We're on our dive on the 6 lies between you and success. Yesterday, we talked about everything matters equally. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You can take that lie and send it somewhere else, guys. We've been programmed on the 50-50 fallacy, and we understand that that's just not reality. Reality is the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle. We also talked about the myth of multitasking. Are we doing a whole bunch of stuff mediocre? Are we leaning in and doing a couple things really well? Gary Keller talks about this in the one thing, his focus going small. And that's when he has been most successful. By the way, he's a billionaire. Think he knows a little bit about how to be financially successful. Maybe we should listen. Guys, today we're going to talk about a disciplined life and what that might look like for you. We're also going to talk about number 4, which is willpower is always on will call. No, no. Mm-mm. That is a lie. So let's dive into the content and see what it has to say about this. Guys, the truth is this: a disciplined life is a lie. It is. I heard Gary talking about this one time, and he said that he would get people come up to him and be like, "Man, I just wish I was as disciplined as you. I wish I had all that discipline that you have. You're so disciplined." And he's like, "I'm not disciplined. I'm not." He said, "My habits are amazing, but my discipline is low." Guys, what I want you to understand is this: your habits are what's going to dictate your future. Your habits will dictate your destiny. Are you building the right habits? Do you even have the right plan around the habits that you need? Some of us don't even realize the habits that we have that aren't even serving us properly. Some of us don't realize that we have habits that are holding us back because we're not even aware of them yet. Guys, we got to start becoming aware of the little idiosyncrasies that we have rolling around in our life. What time we get up, how we talk to ourselves, how we talk to other people. What does that look like in our world? Man, a habit could be as simple as, man, at 9 a.m., I'm hitting the phones, I'm lead generating to my people. A habit might look like, hey, I know at 7 p.m. the day before, I will have my list printed out and ready for the people that I'm going to talk to tomorrow. Guys, we don't need more discipline than we already have. We just need to direct it and manage it a little better. One of the things that study shows is it takes about 66 days to form a strong habit. About 66 days. Another thing that studies have shown is the brain actually never forgets habits. Something to think about. In fact, they're just replaced by stronger habits. They don't actually go away. And so while it only takes 66 days to build a habit, unfortunately, it actually takes way less to break one or lose one. So keep that in mind, man. An object in motion stays in motion. So when you get that habit going, continue to honor it. That way, it'll continue to serve you well. One of the things that I think people firmly need to understand, and it's on this next slide here, it's willpower is not always on will call. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that idea of discipline, right? Some of us think, hey, I just wish I had more discipline, right? Some of us say, hey, I think I have an unlimited amount of willpower. I can just pull it up whenever I choose to. Patooey. No, I don't think so. In fact, each and every one of us all have a finite supply of willpower. Some of us may actually have a higher amount, and yet it will run out. I want you to think about this, man, just for an example. If you've ever had a long day, maybe a long day at work, and you have to go to or get to go to a family function, and it's a wide family, right? It's like all the uncles, your crazy Uncle Sal, your weird Aunt Linda, like all the different people. And you find that your give a rip meter is way low. You might be a little snappy, a little shorter with people. You might not be your vibrant self. That's because your willpower is much lower. It's harder for you to flex into those conversations because your battery has run dry. Your energy tank is low. The will to say yes to what you need to do is what willpower is. The power to say no to everything else. We have to understand that everything we say yes to, we're also saying no to something else. Now they did this study, and it was on an Israeli parole board. And this is from the one thing. It's also in Quantum Leap, as you can see. They found that at certain times of the day, people were more than likely going to be returned to jail. They were going to be denied parole. And the funny thing about that is it had nothing to do with the individual person or their case or their circumstances. It had everything to do with the willpower of the board. And as you can see by the slide here, it started off pretty high in the morning, right? They were filled up, they had their breakfast, they had their coffee, whatever. And then the day starts, and it is a gradual progression down. They felt lower. So the results of the other people were impinged or were challenged because of that. Guys, how is that showing up in your world? One of the things I want you to think about this is understanding that your willpower is not on will call. So how can you set up breaks during the day to recharge and rebuild? As you can see here, after the morning break, it jumped right back up. After the afternoon break, it jumped right back up. If you knew that you had your parole board hearing at the end of the day, you might as well not go because you were going back to jail because the parole board was all cranky or hangry or tired and their willpower was low. How is this showing up for us in our world? You see, sometimes I hear agents say, "Oh, I just can't lead generate in the morning. I just can't do it. Not a morning person. I do my lead gen in the afternoon." Well, judging by this slide, judging by that study, I trust, I hope, I pray that when you do it in the afternoon, it's after the break. Because if not, that willpower might be lower. And if that willpower is lower, how is that showing up in our attitude? How is that showing up in our tonality, our conversations? Are we spending enough time diving deep? Are we staying in curiosity? Or are we ready to get it over with? Are we ready to clock out? Guys, you see, when we start to become self aware, and understand how our bodies and our psychology work, we can use it to our advantage instead of having it use us. Instead of having it control us, we can harness it and make it a beautiful thing. But we have to be self aware. We talk about this on the show all the time. Self awareness leads to self mastery. My question to you is, do you even know how you operate? And not the story you tell yourself, how you actually do, just like the Israeli parole board, man. We have to start to understand what's going on internally and how that battery runs. Now, they have found that you can build up your amount of willpower. And yet it is an arduous task. It takes time on task over time. It takes intentionality and focus to make that happen. And it doesn't happen overnight. So you have to decide how you are going to go about that if you want to make that part of your decision making process. Part of your goal is to increase your willpower. Guys, I trust this is helpful. I trust this is giving you something to really think about this morning in these six lies that stops us from success. My goal for you, my goal for all of you is to start thinking differently in these coming weeks, man. November 1st starts the beginning of the year in real estate. We have to understand that we're 7, 8 days away from the new year. It's not 2 months, it's 7 days. Are we getting ourselves mentally and physically prepared to take market share this year and never give it back? That's up to you, though. One of the things I want you to understand is how these six lies can stop you in 2025. Remember, everything does not matter equally. There is a myth of multitasking. A disciplined life is a lie. In fact, we need to start structuring better habits for ourselves, waking up early, preparing in advance, doing our legion at a consistent time, practice and role play. We have to understand also how we biologically and psychologically work on a clock. Willpower is not always on will call. And we're going to dive into a balanced life and big is bad here in the next couple days. So get ready, guys. Go have a great day. I got to go get on stage real quick and go hang out with some awesome agents here in Bloomington, man. 80 of my new best friends. If you have not gotten into a bold room, go get into one. Y'all crazy. This new content is absolutely liquid hot magma coming off the presses from Gary Keller, Cody Gibson, Jay Popson, Jason Abrams, Jenny Osnes, all the greats out there, man. Go get it. Pour into yourself so you can go pour into your clients and you can go build whatever life you are looking to create. As always, thank you for being here. Quick hitter, guys. That's 12 minutes, man. You were filled up. Let's go get them today. See you tomorrow.